Greetings, everyone. My name is Father Peter Fink, and I am a retreat director at Ignatius House. Our reflection today is about the flight into Egypt, an event which only the barest mention is given in Matthew's Gospel. The Holy Family fled into Egypt and stayed there for about 7 years. And Jesus' earliest moments were in this land of exile. There were many Jewish communities in Egypt at the time of the exile, so it is most probable that Mary, Joseph, and Jesus stayed with Jewish families. But there are so many interpretations about what happened in those 7 years that what I say now is more amusing than a historical claim. But let me start first with the opening of the story. The angel appeared to Joseph in a dream, telling them to leave immediately for Egypt. Herod is on a rampage, killing all boys near Bethlehem under the age of 2, something which Colma Coleman reflected on last week. Little is mentioned about the journey to Egypt itself. Remember, this journey comes immediately after another journey from Nazareth to Bethlehem, a journey of about 90 miles. The journey to Egypt will be more like 300 miles. In one version, they stayed in a small town near Cairo called Fostat. In another, they traveled to several cities and towns in Egypt. But to get a sense of the journey, think of a journey from Atlanta to Jacksonville, or from New York to Washington. Only their journey was to walk or ride a mule, not a bus, not a train, not a plane. It's hard for me to imagine such a journey since my own earliest years. We moved from the North Bronx down to the Middle Bronx and back up to the North Bronx. And there were cars and buses and trains to help us. Mary and Joseph must have been great athletes walking that distance. And Jesus became an international traveler at his birth. But it's not hard to look at families who flee from Honduras or Nicaragua or any other country in Central or South America because of violence, threat of death, various other kinds of oppression, or simple poverty. Now sitting at the border between Mexico and the United States, hoping for a new life. It's not hard to see people from countries in Africa and the Middle East trekking in rickety boats to Europe, themselves fleeing violence, starvation, and much more. The word flight is so easily said, but it involves lengthy journeys along which robbery, violence, and even death are a constant threat. So today, in the time of Joseph and Mary and the Holy Family, the word still is there. Behold, the angel of the Lord appeared to Joseph in a dream and said, "Rise, take the child and his mother, flee to Egypt." Coptic traditions say that the Holy Family did not stay put in one location, but traveled to many towns in Egypt. And these traditions come from a vision that Pope Theophilus was said to have had in the 5th century. Paul Perry, author of a book called Jesus in Egypt, traveled throughout Egypt to the places where the Coptic traditions claim. Old Cairo, Basta, which is also Fostat, Sakha, Wadi Natun, all around Cairo and a few towns further up on the Nile. In one, an artifact of Jesus' footprints is honored. In another, at the Al-Muharraq monastery, a stone is that Jesus slept on, recalling the words from Isaiah, "In that day there will be an altar at the heart of Egypt." Al-Muharraq monastery is at the center of Egypt. Coptic Christians readily accept these traditional stories, and in each place where some artifact is found, a stone, a well, a footprint, Coptic churches and monasteries are located. But we really don't know what happened in those 7 years. Some say they lived in poverty, but Joseph was a carpenter, and surely he would be able to find work wherever they went. But they were in exile. Only when Herod died were they called back to Israel, settling in Nazareth rather than back in Bethlehem. But the stories themselves, however they rise, do mean that in their journey in Egypt, whether in one place or several, something religious happened because of their being there. The journey into this foreign land made a difference. Over the years, people will remember it differently, but the journey itself was and continues to be a journey well remembered. And isn't that true in our own day as well? Surely the United States was formed by immigrants, something I'm afraid we seem to have forgotten. Immigrants always bring new life and a fresh imagination wherever they go. We should remember that. If we open our hearts and minds in welcome, we will be much to benefit as those who come into our midst. So much can be imagined of this journey into Egypt. It's an echo of freedom, an echo of hope, and that hope is the gift of God. God becoming human in Bethlehem and spending his first years in Egypt. Surely there's an echo of the Exodus. Jesus, like Israel before him, leaving Egypt at the summons of God. God is the source of hope, and hope is the gift of this exile into Egypt. So blessings to you. May God be blessed forever. May God of hope be a source of hope for us all.